And good morning, television family. We have gathered once again for this program. It is Thursday, the 29th day of September 2022. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Here we go. Another hazy, cloudy, smoky day today. It was kind of an eerie weather day yesterday. We had the clouds and the mist and the haze. We had just a little bit of light rain, just a trace of rain, measurable rain, but it was still kind of nice to have. A little cooler today, and then we're going to warm right back up. It's going to feel like summertime for a long time. Into next week, your very warm weather forecast is coming up. It's a good news, bad news scenario. It's going to be very nice for all kinds of cool stuff. But the bad news is, with another ridge of high pressure building up, intensifying and amplifying, we're going to have some smoke and some health issues, some air issues. I don't think that's avoidable. Those details are coming up. Stevens Pass is still closed. That 4-mile stretch of Stevens in the general area of Skycomish is still closed, as it has been for most of this week because of the Bulk Creek fire picked up in intensity. So you still can't get all the way there from here on Stevens. You'll have to take I-90. That's the latest on that anyway. We'll have some news. We'll have some sports. The Mariners' magic number is now 3. The Mariners won. Orioles lost. The Mariners have all but guaranteed themselves a spot at postseason for the first time in 21 years. Highlights of a very important Mariner victory coming up. It's a Thursday. That means we have pause for pets. Andy the dog needs a home. We'll get to that in the back half of the program. And the first of a two-part interview I did with Dave Erickson, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services for the City of Wenatchee. We got the Lake Parks update. A lot of projects going on in Dave's department. We're going to talk about Lincoln Park, Kenzie's Landing, the Settle Rock remediation project. A lot on Dave's plate, and we're going to get you caught up with what's happening in Park and Rec in the City of Wenatchee. In the back half of the program, it's two-parter. We'll air the first part today, second part tomorrow. That's how much information we have for you. 2 minutes after the hour, it is 55 degrees under high clouds and smoke and haze, and here we go with our tour around north central Washington with our Valley View cameras. And I think we always begin with, the camera that we can use the most often, and we use the most often. Again, we still don't have our main camera up and running yet. Long story, you don't need to know about it. So we're still using the other cross camera. The one's a little bit farther to the east and a little bit lower in elevation, but it's still a spectacular view. Unlike yesterday morning, we can actually see Birch Mountain, the very top of it. Can't really see Sunny Slope or the old station area, but we at least see the top of Birch Mountain. And you can see that haze, how it just kind of travels right down the Wenatchee River Valley and settles right here in the valley proper. Good morning to Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, and it's off to camera number 2. And it is off to, I don't think that's Monument Hill. I want to say maybe that's Ephrata. It is Ephrata. There you go. Good morning to our Ephrata camera and the folks out in Ephrata. As you can see, there are a lot of repeaters and transmitters and translators and communications equipment, cell equipment up there in the Ephrata area. That's how the Sky-Fi system works. These are all on Sky-Fi towers from Hotel. It's the higher up you are, the better you are for the most part. So lots of radio towers and all kinds of cool stuff there. Good morning to Ephrata. Nice sunrise there. Camera 3 is a road. Let me think here. I want to say maybe Stamen Flats. That's the Stamen Flats camera. I got one right. That's not too far from decision-making time if you're heading on up to Lake Chelan. That's about where that camera is on US 97A. You either head up through the Navarre Coulee and you dump yourself off at the lake at the state park, or you keep right on 97A and you find the lake at Pat and Mike's. That's in that general area there, Stamen Flats, and camera 4. We wrap up our tour with, I want to say the Apple 80s camera. Hay Canyon. We're looking at Cashmere. Stein. We're looking at Cashmere, trying to figure out what camera we're using. Oh, it doesn't matter. Good morning, Cashmere. It's good to see you. Hope you have a beautiful, beautiful Thursday in Cashmere today. Look at that sunrise. That's kind of nice. Sunrise, of course, is getting later and later. It just happened. Sunrise this morning was at 6:57. Sunset tonight, 6:44. Still losing about 3 minutes of daylight per day. But it's not going to really affect our weather a great deal. We got a lot of warm weather ahead. The National Weather Service sent this slide our way. We're looking at a rather long period of dry and mild weather. It really begins on Saturday. We're going to be above normal today, but just a little bit above normal. We're going to be pushing 80 by Friday, and then we're going to be into the 80s Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. This is a very large ridge. It's going to set up almost over the entire western third of this country. So everybody from British Columbia down to California and everywhere in between is going to be in for some sunny and very warm temperatures, because that high-pressure dome is going to keep any kind of weather system away from us. From the National Weather Service, in detail, here we go. Sunshine for the most part today. Again, haze is the big story, and the smoke, so it all depends on how much smoky it actually gets in the valley. Will tell us how warm we're going to get. Yesterday we got to 74. That's about what we expect to get today. And we didn't have a lot of direct sunlight yesterday. Our normal high this time of the year is 71, so still a little bit above normal, but not much. 51 to the overnight low night with clear skies. Again, haze is going to be an issue as long as this forecast holds true, as long as those fires are still burning up Lake Wenatchee way. That's going to be the case. We're going to have to deal with this smoke. I know we're kind of used to it, but it's going to be a long period of the air quality not being as good as it can be for this time of the year. So 80 on Friday, and then here comes October on Saturday, but it's going to feel not much like October. It's going to feel more like early September. 82, 83, 83, 83, 83. Lots of sunshine for everybody for the foreseeable future. But again, with the lid on and no place for the smoke to go and no wind and no rain, air quality will be a concern throughout the forecast period. Can't seem to shake it. 7 minutes after the hour, after 1 minute break, we'll have your Thursday morning headlines. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
This could be the view out of your office window.
North Washington is probably one of the most beautiful places to live in. You get experience it all as a transit operator.
Link Transit coach operators enjoy full family benefits, paid CDL training, a state-of-the-art fleet, and the satisfaction of being part of a progressive, community-minded team.
We have a lot of fun with each other. I mean, it's a good group of people. We're all kind of like a family.
If you like this view, Link is a seat for you. The next operator training starts soon. Apply today at linktransit.com.
I've been in law enforcement for over 36 years, and I've seen a lot of politicians talk about police. But Kim Schreier is different. She listens to us, and she delivers. It's Kim who got more money for law enforcement to fund the equipment that we need, like new bulletproof vests, and more funding for mental health resources for an integrated approach to serve our community.
We need to increase funding to police, and that's exactly what I've done in Congress.
Kim has our back, and she has my support.
I'm Kim Schreier, and I approve this message.
.57 degrees, smoky, hazy, a few high clouds. Going to see sunshine for the most part. Again, depending on where you live, how much sunlight is going to be pretty much up to Mother Nature and the fires. We'll be in the mid-70s anyway. Then we'll be in the 80s starting tomorrow and right through the forecast period. We're talking well into next week. Almost 9 minutes after the hour, Moses Lake's former police chief is being credited with detaining a man who had reportedly threatened 2 students with a gun. This happened Tuesday outside the Columbia Basin Technical Skills Center in Moses Lake. The Moses Lake Police Department said shortly before 2 on Tuesday afternoon, 2 students reported being threatened by 22-year-old Leonel Balderas Mondragon in the parking lot. The tech center and nearby schools immediately placed in lockdown. Moses Lake Police said retired Chief Dave Ruffin, who teaches criminal justice at that school, went to the parking lot to protect any students still outside, and he detained Balderas Mondragon. Police say the suspect admitted to having a 9mm handgun in his car when he arrived to pick up a relative. He allegedly approached the 2 students, were seated in a car in the parking lot, and threatened them with the gun. Balderas Mondragon was booked into Grant County Jail on charges of felony threats, unlawful possession of a firearm on school grounds, and unlawful display of a firearm. Ruffin retired in 2016 after more than 30 years with the Moses Lake Police Department, the last 3 as chief. A federal judge yesterday turned down the city of Leavenworth's request for an injunction that would strip the name Leavenworth Oktoberfest from the festival that's taking place here in Wenatchee. U.S. District Judge Thomas O. Rice said the city, which is hosting a competing festival starting this weekend, didn't show that it would be irreparably harmed if the Wenatchee event goes forward at the same time using the city of Leavenworth's name. Project Bayern, the nonprofit group which formerly ran Oktoberfest in Leavenworth, moved its festival to the Town Center this year after a dispute with this contract with the city, but continued to use Leavenworth in its name. The ruling means Project Bayern does not have to change its existing signage and advertising for the event. The city still has a pending lawsuit against Project Bayern, alleging false advertising, trademark fraud, and other things in Spokane federal court. The police officers who patrol Wenatchee's school buildings introduced themselves Tuesday to the Wenatchee School Board. Officers Natalie Steele and Corey Fuller came on board as the district's school resource officers in February and October, respectively. Steele explained to the board that the job involves a lot more than just showing up to school wearing a uniform.
It's really a lot of informal counseling and mentoring, and obviously building those positive relationships. And really, I mean, we're school resource officer means that we're a resource for students, staff, parents, the community. So it's not just this body of students. I mean, we get reports from parents and reports from students of things that don't happen at school necessarily. So it's not just we're confined by the walls of the school. We do a lot of, just to give you a little insight, we do, welfare checks when parents or staff or teachers, counselors, anything like that. Are concerned about the welfare of a child or to nest like that over the house. I know that we've even offered rides to give kids rides to school if they miss the bus or transportation is an issue.
Chelan County PUD Parks employees aren't just upkeep and maintenance. Last year, 2 workers in the Parks Department for the PUD stopped to help out a person in need. And as a reward, Evan Smith and Anthony Ibarra were honored in Tacoma a couple of days ago with the Governor's Life-Saving Award from the State Department of Labor and Industries.
No one leaves for work in the morning thinking they'll be faced with a life-threatening situation, and none of us really knows how we perform under those kind of situations. Well, the people we're honoring today all act quickly and heroically to unexpected emergencies. Their actions undoubtedly saved lives. The quick actions of these honorees reassures us that coworkers, neighbors, even strangers are out there ready to do the right thing, and that should all make us feel a little bit safer. So let's meet this year's Life-Saving Awards recipients. From Chelan PUD, Evan Smith and Anthony Ibarra. Parks employee Evan Smith responded to a visitor who was experiencing an apparent drug overdose. Evan called 911, removed the visitor from their vehicle, and began chest compressions. A second Parks employee, Anthony Ibarra, secured the scene, communicated with emergency responders. Paramedics arrived, continued CPR. The visitor's pulse returned, and they were transported by ambulance to a hospital for further care. Thank you, Evan and Anthony.
Good news for you folks who use the Cascade Orchard Bridge that connects Leavenworth to the Icicle Road and the Icicle Valley. It's going to reopen tomorrow. After more than 3 months of repair, officially, traffic should be able to resume on that bridge at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The bridge was closed to all traffic for about a month. Chelan County contractors will continue their work into the next week. They need to complete some final touches on the 2-lane bridge. Next week, by the way, motorists should find a few delays. There'll be some flagger-controlled traffic that will reduce the bridge to 1 lane, but at least you can go over it again. And plans are in the works for a revamped playground at Douglas State Park, and people are being asked what it should include. The park just north of Orondo off Highway 97 is operated by the state, but it's owned by the Chelan County PUD. Now, the PUD has set up an online survey for people to offer their ideas. The survey closes, by the way, on October 14th. The PUD said they're looking to create a safe, inclusive, and fun space for kids. The current playground has been in the park for the last 26 years. It's a $220,000 project, and they're going to start working on it next spring. And that's what's making news at 1:15 news on tonight at 5, 6, and 10 with Grant Olson and Eric Grandstrom. And with the preview, here is the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, a few clouds today and cool before we warm right back up in time for the upcoming weekend. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Grandstrom has results from the Mariners-Rangers series and has the latest on the Seahawks as they prepare to take on Lions this Sunday. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. And if you have a news tip, you just want to drop us a note and say hi, you're more than welcome to do it. We'd love to hear from you. You can go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, and click on the Connect With Us icon. Or you can go to our Facebook page and use the Messenger app. You can email us directly, too, if you want. News at ncwlife.com. Still to come, the Mariners are this much closer to a long-awaited playoff berth. We'll have sports. We'll have the obscure holiday. Today in history, some celebrity birthdays, an opinion from like Mad Dog McNaughty, Paws for Pets, and Dave Erickson from the City of Wenatchee's Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services Department will be my guests in the back half of the program. You're watching the Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, folks. Welcome to Save Mart. How can we help you today?
We're looking for a recliner.
Okay, right this way. Go ahead and move this chair on the other side. We can lift this up to lifetime warranty.
Great. I want that one. I like that one.
That's a great choice.
And I want this one as well.
Okay.
And I definitely want this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
"17 minutes after the hour, the Mariners' magic number 3. We like that. Thanks to a victory by the Mariners over Texas and Boston knocking off the Orioles, the Mariners' magic number is now 3 to clinch a playoff berth. Last night's game started just like it did the previous night. Josh Young drove in a run, his 6th RBI of the series. But the Mariners answer back in the bottom of the first with the first hit and returning from a broken finger by Eugenio Suarez. It was pitching and defense from there.
And he bounces this one up the middle. Around third base, here comes Lowe, and Young has driven in the first run tonight. It's 1-0 Rangers.
To center, Tavares showing his numbers. Tavares is watching it go off the base of the wall. Dylan Moore is steaming home. France pedals to third, and Eugenio Suarez gets the Mariners on the board in the first inning. This game was all tied at 1. To center, Tavares making the catch. France tags Mitch Haniger with the first inning sacrifice fly. How about 2 runs in the first inning for the Mariners? They do hang a crooked number, and they have taken the lead. Chopper up the middle. Perez can't get to it. Smith charges out of first. They get the out there. France scores. And everybody moved up. Little flare, flag down, Dylan Moore, ball game is over. The Mariners draw even in this series, and they drop their magic number to make the playoffs the first time in 20 years to 3.
George Kirby was really good, going 6 innings, giving up just the 1 earned run. Turned the rest of it over to the fantastic bullpen. And offensively, it's good to see Ty France with a couple of hits. Suarez back in the lineup. He's tonight including a double. Nice production from the top of the lineup.
Manager Scott Service at last night's game more resembled the kind of baseball we've seen from the Mariners most of this season.
Really good effort by our guys tonight, and it has been a struggle here recently, but we got back to doing what we do, and that's controlling the strike zone, starting with George Kirby mound. I thought the first couple innings George was not as sharp as we've seen him, but he made a nice little adjustment in the third inning. The command came back, with the 2-seamer and got all of his pitches working, and it's the bullpen that we relied on all year. Swanee's had a couple rough outings. He bounced back, was awesome tonight. Mooney's about as sharp. Those guys are rested, our high leverage guys. They haven't pitched a lot lately, and we saw what they can do when we go out there. So, not an easy one by any means tonight. It's kind of what our team presents to us. Most of the outings against us, there's a lot of traffic. He figures out a way to pitch out of traffic, but a lot of really good at bats tonight. Gino, great to have him back. He was on it last night. I mentioned earlier today his timing was a little off, totally expected, and tonight it was dead on. So swung the bat great. Ty was on it. A lot of good at bats, not a lot of hits, but a lot of good at bats and taking the walks and moving the line. So nice win.
Mariners and Rangers play the rubber game of their 3-game series tonight, 6:40 on Root Sports Northwest. We'll get to the wild card standings in just a moment, but first, baseball history last night in Toronto.
And the 3-2. Drilled deep to left field. This could be it. See ya. He's done it. Number 61. He's been chasing history, and now he makes it. He and Roger Maris are tied with 61 home runs, the most anybody has ever hit in a single season in American League history.
It's an incredible honor, and getting a chance to be, associated with, one of the Yankee greats, one of baseball's greats, be enshrined with him forever is, it's words can't describe it. That's one thing that's so special about the Yankees organization is all the guys that came before us and kind of paved the way and, played the game the right way, did the things the right way, did a lot of great things in this game, and getting a chance to be, mentioned with those guys now is, I can't even describe it. It's incredible honor for sure. Having my mom here, it's important. She's been with me through it all. That's for sure. From the little league days, getting me ready for school, being there at my first professional game, being there at my debut, and I'll get a chance to be here for this. This is something special, but we're not done yet, so we'll have a couple more fun ones. That's for sure.
By the way, the Yankees beat Blue Jays 8-3. That, combined with Seattle's win, puts the Mariners just 2 games back of Toronto for the top wild card spot. Tampa Bay also came up short to Cleveland. They lost to the Guardians 2-1, so the Rays were just a half game in front of Seattle. Boston beat Baltimore 3-1. That drops the Orioles to 4.5 games behind the Mariners, and the Mariners win eliminates both the Twins and the White Sox from any chance of making the playoffs. Again, Seattle's magic number to clinch its first playoff berth since 2001 is 3. A couple of volleyball matches last night in North Central Washington. Omak edged Okanagan in the backyard brawl. They didn't actually fight each other. It was a game. 3-2. Tenasket topped Liberty Bell 3-1. On the schedule tonight, it's Antioch and Easton at 6 o'clock. This is all volleyball. Waterville-Mansfield will visit Thorpe. Brewster has a 6:30 match with Manson, and Okanagan's at Bridgeport. Lake Roosevelt travels to Orville. Cascade hosts Quincy. Cashmere visits Omak. For the bigger schools, you got a Friday at Grandview at 6:30. Eastmont will host West Valley at 7, and Wenatchee travels to Moses Lake. Everybody into the pool. The Eastmont and Moses Lake swimming and diving teams are on the road today. They'll take on West Valley at Lions Pool in Yakima, the gateway to Wapato. That gets underway at 4 o'clock. There's also a big cross-country meet at Quincy this afternoon, 4 o'clock. Features runners from Cascade Christian, Cashmere, Chelan, Moses Lake, and Omak, and a busy prep girls soccer schedule. Gets underway at 4 o'clock. We got a Friday at Ellensburg. Omak will host Cashmere. Liberty Bell's in Oroville at 4:30. You got Pateris at Okanagan. Brewster hosting Manson. And Tenasket travels to Lake Roosevelt. And on the pitch at 6, it's Cascade hosting Quincy. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this 20th day of September. Happy Coffee Day. International Coffee Day. National Coffee Day. It's celebrated all over the world, always on September 29th. That get up and go, good to the last drop, blast caffeine, the little speed lift that most of us need to get our day going. All the research that I did yesterday all had the same story, so it must have some believability to it. I have my doubts, but apparently it goes back to about the 5th century. A farmer in Ethiopia noticed that whenever his goats ate seeds from a coffee plant, they got all hyped up. And he said, well, if that's getting them all hyped up, what happens to humans? So he went ahead and made, apparently, the first cup of coffee, and he got all hyped up. And there you go. He brought his idea to a local monastery. Monasteries like to make beer and coffee, apparently. Pretty much everybody from that point forward started to make coffee from the coffee plant. Now it's, of course, everywhere. We're here in America. We love our coffee. The average American spends $1,100 each year on coffee. I know people who spend twice that much a year on coffee. They don't get 2 lattes a day. They're not fun to be around. But we have nothing on Finland. Finland really loves their coffee. The folks in Finland drink more coffee per capita than any country on the planet. And you would think coffee would be big in Brazil, where they grow the beans, but it's really not that big of a drink in Brazil. They prefer tea to coffee. Have yourself a cup of coffee. 26 minutes after the hour. Today in history. Hello, Kaiser Wilhelm. This is Bulgaria here on the line. We quit. We're out. Sorry, you're on your own. Towards the tail end of World War I, 104 years ago today, Bulgaria said, we're out. We're going to cut our own peace treaty with the Allies in Germany. You're on your own. On the very same day, the Hindenburg Line was broken by the Allied attack, and the Germans were on the run from that point forward. And also, on September 29th, 1918, if that wasn't enough, Germany's Supreme Army commanders, I think we even have a photo of this, Germany's Supreme Army commander told Kaiser Wilhelm and the Chancellor of Germany to open negotiations. There they are. They said, hey, you know what? Bulgaria is out. We're on the run. We ain't going to win this thing. Let's go ahead and start maybe thinking about calling the whole thing off. So call them up in Paris, call them up in London, say, hey, can we get together and maybe forget the whole thing ever happened? So it was the beginning of the end of Germany in World War I. Anyway, this is amazing. Look at this photo that we're going to show you. 2 planes on this date in 1940 in New South Wales, Australia. Look at that. 2 Avro Ansons collide in midair. They remained locked together, but they landed safely. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The collision stopped the engines on the upper plane that you see there, but those pilots who were flying the lower one, those engines continued to run. That allowed the airplane to keep flying. Both the navigator and the pilot of the lower airplane jumped out. They survived. The pilot of the upper airplane realized that he could actually control the airplane with the flaps and the rudders, and he was able to make an emergency landing in a nearby field. All 4 crewmen, the 2 on the upper and the 2 on the lower, survived the incident. In fact, the upper plane that you see there, they fixed it and they flew it again. Incredible. That happened on this date in New South Wales, Australia, 82 years ago today. And September 28th, 1957, the New York Giants played their final game as the New York Giants at the Polo Grounds in Upper Manhattan in New York City. They lost to the Pirates. The final was 9-1. Things got a little out of hand as we roll the footage from September 29th, 1957. There's ceremonies before the game. It was more of a funeral than a baseball game. Everybody knew it was already announced that they were going to be moving to San Francisco the next year. But the fans showed up, and as soon as the last out was made, the ground out, shortstop to first, the game is over, and here come the fans. Players have to run for their lives to the clubhouse. The clubhouse at the Polo Grounds was beyond the center field fence. That's why they're running that way. The players say, we got to get out of here before we get mugged to death. In the meantime, the fans took to the field. They stole home plate. They stole the pitcher. They stole all 3 bases. They ripped telephones off the walls. They stole signs. They stole plaques. They took dirt. They took everything they could possibly get their hands off, as the New York Giants would no longer be the New York Giants. 65 years ago today at the Polo Grounds. Let's do some birthdays. The only person to have 5 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Only one person has done that. Gene Autry, born in the state in 1907. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for film, for television, for radio, for recordings, and for live concert appearances. Nobody else has 5. Gene Autry, who made a heck of a lot of money in real estate investment in Southern California. He ended up owning the California Angels when they started. He died a very wealthy, very happy man at the age of 91 in 1998, the singing cowboy Gene Autry. My favorite football coach was they don't coaches like this anymore. Bum Phillips, who of course was the coach of the Houston Oilers and then later the New Orleans Saints. He was a character in days where they don't really have characters anymore. You know, coaches in the NFL today are pretty buttoned down and corporate, but not Bum Phillips. Great quotes from Bum Phillips. There are only 2 kinds of coaches, those who have been fired and those who are going to get fired. And I've been both. I never scrimmage my team. I never make the Oilers play the Oilers because Houston isn't on schedule. I've always liked that. And during training camp, when Earl Campbell could not finish the 1-mile run, Bum Phillips said, if it's first down in a mile, I won't give him the football. The great Bum Phillips, born 99 years ago today. And who would have thought that the killer, Jerry Lee Lewis, of all people, would be the last surviving member of the inaugural class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's 87 years old today. Nobody cuts the killer. The great Jerry Lee Lewis is 87 years old today. Who'd have thought? Of the original 10 inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986, he's the last one still alive and kicking. Could have fooled me. Still to come, an opinion from my Mad Dog McNaughty. We're going to catch up with our good buddy Dave Erickson, find out what's going on with the latest in the Wenatchee Parks Department. That's coming up, the first of a 2-part interview, by the way. But first things first, Andrew the dog needs a home. It's Pause for Pets from our friends at the Humane Society.
Hello, I'm Jenny. I'm the volunteer coordinator here at the Wenatchee Humane Society. And with me today, I have Andy, otherwise known as Andrew. as we like to affectionately call him, because I like to say that every day he's trying to be the very best Andrew he can be. Right, Betty? He's what I describe as like high on life. He is so jolly, so much fun. I personally adore Andy. He obviously has a lot to say. So every day he greets us, telling me all about what he's done the day before. He's actually quite smart though too. He has a bunch of tricks that he knows. He knows sit, he knows shake. He's learning to walk good on a leash. He does know eye contact. But the problem is he gets very excited about everything. So he has moments where he forgets how to behave on leash. Overall, Andy is, he might be one of my favorite guys. He does go to play group with a bunch of dogs. He's not every dog's cup of tea though, because he's a little bit on the rough and rowdy side. But he comes in full steam, plays with them for a few minutes, and then he usually finds a stick and settles down with his stick. He's also a very scheduled dog. So here at the shelter, Andy knows when our daily enrichments are and what time they are. So he very much looks forward to scent tube time. He's awesome with people. He greets everybody kind of in this manner. He has a lot to say to everyone, and he wants to greet everyone. Yeah. When treats are involved, he does get a little bit more demanding, obviously. But overall, Andy is just, he's adorable. And he's just a super, super fun guy, and he's going to have delightful adventures.
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and closed 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. for quiet hour. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
This is Mike, Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I've seen a lot of social media posts, and I've heard people say, Jesus is the same today and yesterday and forever, and basically saying that Christianity doesn't change due to societal or cultural changes. In other words, for example, what some of these folks are really saying is that Jesus has never liked gay people, and he doesn't like them now. Well, I agree that Jesus is the same, it doesn't change. But what needs to change is any of these churchy attitudes that denies that God's grace and reconciliation are available to everyone regardless of who they are, even if some crazy evangelical folks don't like some of them. This is Mike, Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Coons. Dave, of course, is the longtime director of Cultural Services for the city of Wenatchee. Recently celebrated his 15th anniversary with the city. Congratulations. I know you were honored at the city council meeting a couple of Thursdays ago.
Yeah, I made it 15 years. That's an accomplishment.
When you took the job 15 years ago, did you think you'd be doing this here and now?
I was hoping, yeah. Sometimes that's out of your control, but yes, I was hoping that we'd be here for the long haul. So
we do this with Dave a couple times a year. We last met at this very part at Lincoln Park back in March, I believe it was. It was cold. Now we're knocking on the door in October. It's a beautiful day. Let's start with Lincoln Park. It's going. You've had some issues, some foreseen, some unforeseen. Specifically the playground equipment. Give me an update on the Lincoln Park project, which is right now the biggest project on your desk right now.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest ones for sure. $3.6 million project. We're about halfway through. So everything is actually going pretty smoothly, especially once we got out of the ground. So when we were in the ground, because Lincoln Park was an old landfill, you kind of never knew what you were going to find. So we had an archaeologist out outside the entire time watching us dig up, old bottles and tires and things like that could be artifacts for the project. So outside of that, maybe a little bit of supply chain issues. We're still waiting for our playground equipment to arrive. Everything else is going great. The stage is under construction. We're on the roof right now. The restrooms are getting close. The big pile of dirt behind me is the soccer field that's coming. The pump park is just underway, has a little bit more to go. Picnic shelter is getting close as well. So all the different elements are working right now.
The amphitheater, which was part of the original project when Lincoln Park was built all those years ago, has moved slightly. You've moved it a little bit to the west and a little bit farther down the hill, and it won't have the restrooms underneath it anymore. So it's looking good, the band shell.
Yeah, so it'll be better for handicap accessibility. It'll be ADA. And it actually, by moving that restroom out of the way now, it opens up the hill in the wintertime for some better sledding opportunities. So
was that a champagne problem you discovered after you moved the stage and you went, hey, the kid can make it pretty much all the way across the park?
No, you know, actually, I went back and we came across the original 1969 plans for the park, which showed slightly different layout, but it also showed the sled runs identified, and that was one of those areas that was really there. So we're able to actually go back to the original plans of the park and take care of it at one time.
Lincoln Park is very much a neighborhood park. There's a lot of families who live in the area of Lincoln Park. The master plan for the city has parks laid out, so you don't have to go very far to find one. But this is probably, as parks go, that's under your jurisdiction, is probably the most used park, I'd say, or close to it.
Well, it's the largest, for sure, largest city park that we have. And you know, with the stage and things like that, it's great for large events. So Fiestas Mexicanas used to be here till it outgrew the park. And we'll have our moves in the park back here next year, and our concerts in the park. We're thinking about bringing those down here. And then a new program called Tardeadas, which will be a Sunday afternoon special event. So everything from informal uses to large community events happen here.
And you mentioned the folks who live in the area can really do with very patient, because it's their park and they haven't really been able to use much of it over the last year and a half or so.
Yeah, it's a long, big project, so it takes a little bit longer than maybe most, and they've been great to work with and have been supportive and are really excited about the things that are going to be coming to the park.
Where are we on the timeline on this? As far as everything is done and we have a ribbon opening ceremonies and a celebration, all that stuff. Where are we at in that?
Right in the middle of January. So it might be a ceremonial sled down the hill or something at that point. But yeah, we have about 80 construction days left, which is, they work 4/10, so that's about 20 weeks roughly. So
did the cold and wet spring put you behind in schedule, or is it work until the snow flies?
Yeah, it's work all the way through when the snow flies. So we're scheduled to go all the way up till the end of the year. So hopefully we'll have weather like this the rest of the year, and we'll be perfect.
The problems with the Wenatchee City Pool are long-standing. We know about this. It's getting older. Pools have a finite lifespan. You're going to have to get this baby through for a while yet. Give me an update on where we are with the Wenatchee City Pool.
Yeah, so last spring we bid the project out to do a replacement on the liner and the pumping project, and only received one bid, and it was really high. So since that time, we've gone after some additional funding, and thanks to help Senator Hawkins, we were able to land some additional funding. We also got an amendment to one of our state grants, and they doubled our grant allocation. So we had that additional funding in place and have rebid the project out, and those bids open up next week. So we should have a real good idea where we stand as far as the construction project for next year by the end of next week. And if everything works out great, we should be under construction probably August 1st or July 31st of next summer, and that'll last all the way through till weather turns in the fall.
Do the people in the Wenatchee Valley understand the importance of having a 10-lane Olympic-sized outdoor swimming pool, what it does for us, bringing in the swimmers from out of town, big clubs who come in here a few times a year and dip their toe in the water? It's big.
It is big, yeah. From an economic development standpoint, those meets draw people from all over the western United States to Wenatchee to compete. So that in and of itself is a huge, huge draw, not only for the pool itself, but then also local businesses that are around it.
You mentioned Senator Hawkins, he's in an effort to build a regional aquatic center someplace, quite possibly on the east side, which would include any water-related activity you can think of. And in those plans, I was glad to see was a Olympic-sized 10-lane swimming pool. That should stay intact, correct? In your mind, we need to have one?
Yeah, as far as I know, it should transfer to the new facility. That's something that is unique to not only Wenatchee, but also the entire kind of Washington state. There aren't that many. So to have those big meets, you need that 10-lane capacity. So without that, those meets could go anywhere.
So your goal is to keep this Wenatchee City Pool up and running for the foreseeable future. It could be a while yet.
It still could be, yeah. I'm not really involved in the regional facility, but if you're looking at setting up districts and bonds and votes of the people, and then engineering, you might be looking at a couple years for engineering and property acquisition and all that good stuff. So, it's probably still about 10 years out, I would think, if I were guessing.
In the meantime, this Wenatchee City Pool is going to have to just keep slogging through and getting there.
That's right.
Yeah. Give me an update on Kenzie's Landing. We visited up there in the foothills of Wenatchee. Again, back in March. Where are we with that?
Yeah, two projects that are right next to each other, but separate. So it's just the way that the budget and the grants all work out. So we have the Kenzie's Landing project, which is a trailhead project, be developing 10 parking spots up at the end of Maiden Lane, kind of beyond the end of Maiden Lane. And that one is right on time and on schedule as well. I was up there, I think it was last week, and they were still finishing up utilities and some of the grading and things like that. So that one's scheduled to actually be done when that section of the Foothills closes November 30th. Everything north of 5th Street closes for mule deer November 30th. So then we would do a grand open ribbon cutting probably in the spring of next year. And then tied to that is there's a piece of land in between the trailhead and the end of Maiden Lane that will get a temporary roadway on it. So you'll be able to access the trailhead. And that one just got underway. That construction got underway. And that's scheduled to also then be done at the end of November of next year.
Do you foresee any future trailhead access to the foothills in the western Wenatchee at all? We're kind of running out of places to park cars and people start their hike. Are we pretty much at the end of that road?
There's probably 2 more that are left that we're going to need to address. One would be up Number 1 Canyon. There's currently kind of a pullout by Sage Hills area. A formal trailhead in that area would be very useful. And then also kind of on the north end by Omi Gardens, potentially a joint partnership project with the county to enhance the parking at Omi Gardens, but then also creating a trailhead opportunity out there.
Well, let's go ahead and jump ahead to Saddle Rock. That remediation project has been going on for months now, but you're into the last couple of weeks. In fact, the dedication ceremony scheduled for October 27th.
Yeah, so excited to have this one done. Actually, this project's been underway for 10 years, if you can believe that. From the time that the very first soil analysis was done, all the way up until this remediation project, which we really appreciate everybody being super patient while the closure's been underway. But the crews are up there with big yellow equipment that take up the entire trail width, and they are regrading the entire trail at this point. They're dropping down a gravel surface to help with all weather opportunities. They're putting in water bars so the water won't run down. You don't get the Grand Canyon running down the center of the trail. Now the water will run off the trail, off to the side. So they're getting really close. We're in the final home stretch of it. They'll be up there here soon doing the hydroseeding of the areas that have been disturbed, and then coming back in October as well and planting some additional shrubs, some native shrubs and plants. So getting really close. Looking forward to that reopening on the 27th at noon.
Let's pop up to Rotary Park, imagine, if you will, popping up to Rotary Park on Western Avenue. Very popular park. The splash pad was very popular again this year. A couple of issues, but they're fine with it now. The Rotary folks themselves are putting in a peace pole. They've been working on that. They raised the money. That dedication's coming up, right?
That one is, yeah, October 21st at 5 o'clock. It's a Friday afternoon. They're going to be dedicating the peace pole. And so it's largely done at this point. I think they have the engraving left to do still on the columns themselves that are up there. And then there'll be some grass that'll get reseeded in there. Our guys will be up improving the irrigation to it here this week. And then the grass will get put in early next spring to finish it out.
And of course, as you know by now, the Chelan County PUD is converting some of their tennis courts to pickleball courts at Walla Walla Plain Park. You've been ahead of the curve on that one. You guys started that a number of weeks ago. You're converting, I believe it's a basketball court to pickleball. Is that correct?
Yeah, half the basketball court will be converted. So we'll still have a half basketball court, but then we'll have 2 pickleball courts as well. That one's under construction as well. Going a little slower than the Peace Pole project, but hopefully it'll be up and operational by next spring when the weather breaks.
And of course, Rotary Park is a very popular location for you disc golfers, and you can come down here to Lincoln Park and play some disc golf. You're going to be doing some improvements to the disc golf course too, right?
Yeah, we worked with a local disc golf club, and they raised the funding for the baskets that are here for a 9-hole disc golf course. We developed the signage for the course, which should be going in anytime soon. We just had that fabricated, and our guys our maintenance crews are actually installing some of the tee boxes in the next couple of weeks. So you'll see at least 6 of the tee boxes coming in, and then once construction is done down here, we'll be able to finish out the rest of those, and you'll have a disc golf course then too as well.
You made an important point, and we can't stress this enough. It's not just Dave. You have a hell of a crew.
I do.
You do. You got a hell of a crew.
I do.
Who take ownership of these parks.
Yeah, they really care about the parks and do whatever they can do to not only the parks, but all these other random areas around that we maintain, street sides and things like that. But no, they really care about the parks and want them to look nice.
One last question before we wrap up this little visit. We're going to visit at the Okanagan Community Garden here for tomorrow's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's been in the news, vandalism at the area restrooms and at the area parks. Met Park has been a specific problem. How are we doing with that as we wrap up summer? Has it still been a bit of an issue?
It's every day, different parks, sometimes multiple parks. Everything from tagging to broken sinks, fixtures in the restrooms, you name it, it gets broken, it gets tagged. The dog park fence down at Hale Park has been cut virtually every week. So yeah, it's something that it takes our guys a lot of time to do, so they can't maintain things maybe as well as they would like because they're busy fixing the things that have been broken.
Is security cameras helping at that at all? I mean, I know you've installed them, but...
Yeah, so we have security cameras. We've looked at having contracted security throughout the parks. That gets real expensive. And then changing hours and operations, changing the way that parks are designed and operated so you have less things for people to hide behind. You'll see that in the new playground at Lincoln Park, for example. The other one was vandalized and people doing bad stuff where they shouldn't be. And so this one is more open than what we've had before. So it's changing lighting, changing cameras, changing the way things are designed and operated.
And changing behavior might be the top of that list anyway.
Absolutely.
Dave Erickson, the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services for the City of Wenatchee. We're going to continue this visit on tomorrow's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're going to go to that little triangle close to downtown to talk about the community garden that's going in there and other cool stuff that's on Dave's plate. That's on tomorrow's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Until then, we will be right back.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a four-letter word. I think we should hire more people.
Doug, late for a meeting.
Hey, we need to build a home office. We're adding another bathroom.
We need a warehouse.
I can't imagine how we do that.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
Get a little oompa back in your life by visiting the 24th annual Leavenworth Oktoberfest at the Town Toyota Center in Wenatchee. Your thirst will be satisfied with a variety of authentic German beer, and your hunger will be filled with German brats right off the grill. The sounds of oompa will be delivered up in 2 venues with live nonstop entertainment. Don't miss out. For more information or to purchase tickets, log on to leavenworthoktoberfest.com.
Color Effects has moved their shop to a larger location to expand their services, including adding in a state-of-the-art large format printer. They got it. You need banners? They got them. You need vinyl decals for your cars, trucks, vans, or trailers in just about any size? Yeah, they got it. Color Effects has also been providing fun swag and clothing for local churches and high schools around our valley for decades. Support your local print shop. Call Color FX in Cashmere today.
Hi, this is Kelly, owner of the Original Children's Shop in downtown Wenatchee. We carry the latest in quality children's wear like Riley and Crew, Kite Baby, Little Sleepies, and more. Come visit us for mommy and me styles, diaper bags and strollers, and great books and toys for all ages. I look forward to meeting you soon at the Original Children's Shop.
Introducing Alpine Air Man. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
As the sun sets in Chelan County, the lights come on. Birds, bugs, and us. We all need the night sky. Give our pollinators a little love. Add outdoor lighting controls to your local business. Chelan PUD can pay up to 100% of your new lights and lighting controls that save energy, save money, and help protect our night sky. With way bigger incentives from Chelan County PUD, now through December 31st.
I'm John Divis from Wenatchee Dental Arts, and I like to think myself as a comprehensive dentist. We are an office that treats people comprehensively for their dental problems. We do a lot of general dentistry in a broad sense. We don't send everything out. Things that we have the ability to do in the office, we like to keep in the office and under one roof and keep things as complication-free as possible. You can come to one place and have all their dental needs taken care of.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine-in style at Highlander Bar Grill, located in East Wenatchee. Highlander Golf Course has added 2 state-of-the-art full-swing simulators. Food and drink service is available from our full-service bar and grill, offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Indoor and outdoor seating available. Call Chelan, our on-site coordinator, to schedule your special event.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
Oh my, how are you? 55 degrees, hazy, smoky. Yeah, we're going to be stuck with this for a while. I'm going to give you a quick update in just a minute. But first, some shop talk, some programming reminders. A week ago, Wednesday, so 8 days ago, the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce hosted a candidates forum at the local Televent Center at the Pybus Puppet Market. And our cameras were there, and we taped the whole darn thing. And we've turned it into a 1-hour television program, and you can watch it here on this very television station. Sunday at 8 a.m., Monday at 9 o'clock, Tuesday at 8 o'clock, Wednesday at 9 o'clock, and then Sunday at 8 a.m. You can also watch it on demand by going to our website, ncwlife.com, and click on go to the full episodes tab, and you'll see it there. Again, this is the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce and their candidates forum as we get closer and closer to Election Day, which is as late as it can get. It is November 8th this year, which is the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. So you're going to get an extra week to vote, so to speak. So again, the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce's Candidates Forum that we taped is available to watch on television by checking your local listings or by going to our homepage and go to the full episodes, and you'll see it there. No problem at all. And one other programming reminder, we're going to be at Wildcat Stadium tomorrow. It is homecoming for the Eastmont Wildcats, so all of you alumnus of Eastmont High School are invited to come back and cheer on the home team. The Wildcats take on the Sunnyside Grizzlies. Eric and Paul Collard will have the call. Pregame at 6:30, and we'll get going with the football game at 7. It is homecoming, so it'll be a longer than normal halftime, about a half an hour, as they crown the homecoming king and queen. We'll be covering all of those festivities, by the way, the homecoming festivities at halftime during our broadcast tomorrow night of Eastmont and Sunnyside football. So those are the two programming reminders. Oh, and we'll have soccer, too. We'll have Wenatchee High School soccer on Saturday afternoon from Leavenworth Oktoberfest to the Apple Bowl. Man, we're going to be busy here for the next couple of days. Air quality. Yesterday, it started out not too good, then it got worse as the day progressed. Now, it's considerably better today than it was yesterday at this time. You notice the one orange dot, that's the one concern. That's unhealthy for sensitive groups. That is Brewster. They're checking in at 108. Here in the Wenatchee Valley, we're in the yellow at whatever it says there, 97. Is that what that says? Cashmere's at 94. Leavenworth is 72. Most of the day yesterday for Cashmere and for Leavenworth, for that matter, was unhealthy. It got past the 151 mark, which is unhealthy. Of course, all of this is from the two fires, which is now one fire, the Irving Peak Fire and the White River fire up above Lake Wenatchee have now combined into one fire, and it's just sitting there. It's smoldering. It's just going to sit there and smolder. They're keeping an eye on it just to make sure it doesn't get out of control, and it hasn't. But it's the terrain is so steep, and the forest is so dense that there's really nothing they can do except just let it go until we get enough rain and enough snow to put that fire out, or at least tamper it down. So for the foreseeable future, it looks like each and every day, as a high-pressure ridge begins to build up, especially starting tomorrow, we're going to be dealing with hazy and smoky and some pretty unhealthy air, probably all the way into the middle or late part of next week. And Stevens Pass, by the way, is still closed. They had it open briefly, and then they had to close it down earlier in the week because the Bull Creek fire acted up again, got pretty close to the highway. So Stevens Pass is still closed for that 4-mile stretch near the town of Skykomish. And as you can see by looking at that, we're in for some very warm fall weather. A very long period of dry and mild weather begins really Friday, but really gets going on Saturday. It's going to persist through all of next week. A big high-pressure ridge. I mean, this is a monster. Is going to build along the Pacific coast. It's going to kind of just sit there and not go anywhere. And so we're looking for temperatures to be well above normal. Our normal high this time of the year, 71 degrees, and our normal low, 48. We're going to be well above that, folks, as you look at the forecast. Sunshine today. Again, the haze is going to be prevalent. Today might be one of the better days for smoke and haze. We might see a little bit more blue sky, because if this forecast models do what they think they're going to do with this lid on the Wenatchee Valley, we're going to have some serious dirty air, I think, for quite some time. 74 a high today, which is exactly what we had yesterday, 74. But it's cooler than it has been earlier in the week. And then we're right back to 80 again. On Friday, again, haze, very prevalent in the morning when the relative humidity is at its highest, but it could be bad pretty much all day, Friday into Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Temperatures well above normal, not only for the afternoon high, but for the overnight low. So we're going to say goodbye to September and welcome October with some very warm weather. And that's it for us. Have a good and safe Thursday. We will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. live and local. Till then, bye-bye.